Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing tips for Saturday the 12th of July. So a very quick video. I'm going to get into it. So I've had a 5p each way Goliath and 50p each way singles on all of the selections. Some very interesting ones, and I'm going to get straight into it. So the first selection is Royal Velvet in the 212 at Newmarket. You're probably better off placing this with Sky Bet. I've had this because this is the account where I've got money in. It's probably a daft thing to do, but I've done it. So Royal Velvet, it's got good course and distance form at Newmarket, something I'm very keen on. I've backed so many horses in the past that have run at Newmarket that haven't handled the track. This is a proven performer, and I also believe that low numbers could slightly have a preference for today. There's not many big fields, so it's not going to make a huge difference. But I just think that William Buick, William Knight, a horse that runs well over course and distance, and 15 to 2, first three is decent value. In the 250 at Newmarket, I've gone for He's a Monster in the 20 to 1, paying first four. So there's a load of question marks over a lot of the contenders in this race. I can't overlook the fact that this is at the Wathnon Racing. I think this horse came third last time at 40 to 1. Overlooked by many that day at Newcastle. I just think this horse, it's from too big connections not to run a decent racing way. Don't go wrong, horses from big connections run poorly. However, I just think that it's not a fantastic race, and I think this horse has been overlooked. There's some decent form by the previous trainer, Archie Watson, and I think some of that could bring this horse into contention. There's an awful lot of horses in this race that have ran both on slow ground and fast ground, including this horse. So, in a nutshell, I do think that a lot of these horses might not handle the ground, including this horse. But I just think at 20 to 1 from a powerful connections, I can't ignore it. The third selection is in the 435 at Newmarket, and the selection is Whistlejacket. And I can't actually remember the reason why I selected it. Take a look for yourselves. It's paying first four. That's it. It's Aidan O'Brien's. So I think it's got a decent chance. He's got a good record in this race. Aidan O'Brien has, probably like he has most races. I think it's got a bit of a low number, and it's got an obvious chance. 6 to 1, so of course it has. They're paying first four, so ideally we need it minimum to place. So we're off to York now. So in the 2 o'clock at York, I've gone for Native American at 9 to 1. Also by the Wathnon Racing, I'm going to say Syndicate then. Take a look for yourself because I've forgotten why I picked it, but it's in the, like I say, it's in the 2 o'clock at York. The 310's an interesting race. It's the John Smith's Magnet Cup. And I've gone for Fox Legacy. Originally, I was trying to look for an angle where I could give Elizabeth Gale a chance. She rides a horse called something like Romeo or Romeo. It's owned by the Nick Bradley Racing Syndicate and Aidan Keatley, sorry. I do think it's got a chance, but I just can't quite have it. It's not ran well over 1 mile 2 yet, and that's my concern. I don't think it has anyway. I know it ran 1 mile 2 at Redcar, and it ran poorly. Not quite sure where its next race was. I think it was on the all-weather at Newcastle, but I'm not sure whether that was back over a mile or 1 mile 2. Don't get me wrong, it might be laid out for this race, the Romeo horse, but there's too many question marks. So what I've gone for Fox Legacy. It's ran 2 absolute crackers. It ran a cracker first time up, and then second run, I believe it was at Ascot. It actually won on its side, but I think it comes something like 7th on the day, but that was back over a mile. If you go back through the form, and before it was gelded, it was trained by Michael Stout. It regularly used to run over 1 mile 2, and by far its best form, or one of its races, was over a mile and 2. It achieved a huge Racing Post rating compared to its official rating that day. Don't get me wrong, don't know how good a race it was, but it won very well that day. But it won by 12 lengths. I'm not too worried about. I'm not going to go too much into the distance or read too much into it, the 12 lengths. It's more the fact that it achieved a very high racing post rating, so therefore time and weight would have been included. It's drawn 19 today, well, which isn't ideal, but I don't think it's at the end of the world. Not quite sure how they might ride it. I think that they'll probably ride it slightly better than mid-division. You don't want to get too far behind at York. Don't get me wrong, stall 19. You might give it a poor ride. It might be 8 wide going into every single bend that there is. I don't know, but it is. It can run well off today's mark. You can't discount Andrew Bolden, and you certainly can't discount Oisin Murphy. Always in the headlines. Is he going to be in the headlines for the right reasons today? I don't know. I hope so. The next selection is in the 525 at York. It's Ingleby Archie. It's 18 to 1. So the York draw bias, not quite sure how it's going to work out. They're probably going to come straight down the middle. But what you do need is something that's going to be up with the pace, in my opinion. This horse has drawn 1, and I don't think that's a cracking draw. I think, because what's going to have to do, in my opinion, I can't remember how many runners there is. I think this is something like 17 runners. Ideally, you want to be drawn between 5 and 9, in my opinion. So this horse drawn 1, I would normally like this draw, but I think it's got to get out and gradually head across more towards the middle. So I think it's probably going to need a couple of lengths. It's going to have to lose a couple of lengths by moving across to the middle. But I do believe that if it gets to the front and isn't pestered too much, don't go wrong, it's a dash. But if it isn't pestered too much, it could at least hang on for a place. And I think 18 to 1 is too big a price to ignore again. It is a tough front runner. It is a tough front runner, and also it's trained by Adrian Nichols, obviously son of Dandy Nichols, the Sprint King. They used to like mop up these races regularly at York and also the Epsom Dash and all that kind of stuff. So I do think it's got a decent chance. And Harrison Shaw is on board. I think he's an okay jockey. The next selection is 450 at Ascot, and the selection is Wolverhampton, 14 to 1. Paying first 5, you're probably going to get a lot better place terms on Sky Bet. So I'm probably going to do my head in where they're going to offer one place better on Sky Bet, and they're going to come in that place, and therefore Sky Bet will have a good return, and William Hill won't. But Wolverhampton, it's got a cracking record. Oh, sorry, a cracking record. It generally runs well at Ascot. It's another tricky course. You've got, in my opinion, you've got 3 tricky courses today. You've got York, Ascot, and Newmarket. Newmarket, do they handle the course? Ascot, it's a stiff finish, and York, it's they go off quick. And in my opinion, front runners can normally just about roll to the finish. It's not like a front runner normally absolutely stops at York. It's normally if they set off too quick, you can see them treading water a bit, but you're thinking like, hey, oh, they're not actually getting to it, or they're getting to it very slowly. So I think if a horse that races prominently at York could normally just about hang on. So let me go back to Wolverhampton. Obviously, it's running at Ascot. It's got cracking Ascot form. I just think there's too many question marks over a lot of the other runners, and Rod Millman is a decent trainer. It takes a lot of horses up north. To say is based in Devon, it does take a lot. I know Ascot isn't north, by the way, but it does target these races very well. So Wolverhampton, course and distance form, should run its race. I'm not expecting it to win, but certainly I'm expecting to be very close to the placings. And finally, the most interesting horse is in the 520 at Ascot, and it's called Tokyo Joe. Well, it's a competitive race. They're paying first 4. This horse, as I said, Ascot's a bit of a tricky course. It's a stiff uphill finish. Tokyo Joe has got the profile of an improving horse, but also got the profile of a horse that has been kept like low key. Yeah, on its debut, it's only had 3 runs, but 2 of its runs have been above its official rating. I think it's rated something like 78. Its first run was a day out on the all weather. The second run was at Newbury when it achieved a racing post rating of 79. That was on good ground. So the interesting aspect is they then sent it to Southall, which is it's tough in my opinion for like 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds because although it's not the fibre sand anymore, it's still a tough course in my opinion. If this horse finished tailed off at Southall, it wouldn't surprise me because it is just a tough course. So Tokyo Joe, it ran a race post rating of 81 that day, so that's a further improvement. But I think they ran it at Southall because it didn't really want to run. I think it run there for an education. I don't think it would have really enjoyed running at Southall. So I've looked at the breeding. So I've gone. In fact, I think no. I'm going to show you the breeding. 520 Ascot. I thought I'd left the screen open for this, so I'm going to do this as quick as I can. Just bear with me 1 second. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to show you very briefly what I looked at, but it's just a bit of an insight into the breeding. So Kingman, so you got the Damsai, Kingman, generally the offspring prefer fast ground. The Adiva, it was, I think it was trained by Clive Britton. No, it wasn't. That was a different horse I've looked up for the. So yeah, nothing to see there. So C Uni, this is the bit I want to show you. So we're going to stud record. Scroll down. I don't know what. Yeah, you're going to see this. Okay. Progeny statistics. Oh, you can just. In fact, let me just. So all we're concentrating on is the ground. So as you can see, the progeny of C Uni, heavy ground is 12%. If you look at it, generally it gets better the faster the ground gets. 13% strike rate, 15% strike rate, 29% strike rate, 25% strike rate, 30% strike rate. So in my opinion, I'm taking that literally as the faster the ground, the better. So Tokyo's Joe on turf, it ran on good ground, which is fine. It's got a good strike rate on good ground, and it would have liked the ground. I just think it could improve further. This ground could be rock hard come 520 Ascot. It's good to firm now. It's going to be absolutely roasting today. I don't like the 5-1, but then again, it could be a cracking price by the end of the day. But I just think Tokyo Joe fits so many, ticks so many boxes. The problem is, I am concerned about the track and its inexperience. But its inexperience is also a good thing where there's still room for improvement. So it's a glass half full, glass half empty view of it. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm going for the glass half empty. But Tokyo Joe, there's huge potential there. I think it's been Ed Walker's a very shrewd trainer, and I just think that it's open to huge improvement still. And I think 78 is a very what's the word? Is a mark where it gives it half a chance. As I said, its first run was a day out. Second run was improvement at Newbury, and its third run was a further improvement at Southall. I think there's got to be further improvement, but already it's shown that it can run above its handicap mark, and if it can run up to about 87 on its racing post rating, it won't be out the first two. The question mark is, can it? So what I'm planning on doing is I've had 50p each way singles and I've had a 5p each way Goliath. If we've had a good day, I might get stuck into this Tokyo Joe. So that's my view on things. Let me know what you think. Honestly, I think you're better off taking SP on all the horses on Sky Bet. But like I said, I haven't got any cash in Sky Bet. So, and I've got cash in William Hill. So I wish you the very best of luck. Let me know in the comments what you plan on doing. Or you might be doing, if you fancy something, let me know. So I wish you the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.